Okay. All right. So welcome, everybody. This is a group opportunity for us to model an in-home presentation. So the first request is everyone please mute yourself. And we will have only those people who are actively participating, which has just randomly been selected. So nobody get offended, but what we get to do is we're like sitting in on this. So this is an in-home presentation, and Roland will be our guest, and our host is Richard Beers. And Richard, if you would perhaps be kind enough to set up what we have done, that you've invited some guests and you're introducing Roland, and this will be interactive. I will be the only one who may say anything just to make sure we stay on track, but I'm a watcher and everyone gets to be here. So Richard Beers is our guest this evening. Richard is a up-and-coming business leader who has chosen to invite a handful of his colleagues. And so Richard, if you would like to welcome Roland, and then perhaps Roland, I'm sure, would like to know who your guests are. So everyone, please mute yourself if you are not actively part of this.
Am I a co-host so I can put something on the screen?
I think you can anyway. I can, yeah, I'm sure you can. Yep. In fact,
Okay.
would it be less distracting if the people who are not actively participating, if they turn off their videos? So
No, leave them on. No, leave them on. Heck yeah.
Okay, leave them on. See, that's why Roland runs the show. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. There you go.
Good evening and congratulations on getting here. I apologize that the HVAC guy is taking up your parking space because they're just leaving. You know, it always happens that something happens right before something important, and our HVAC compressor blew up. But while we're here, we are delighted that you can come and visit with us. I have a special guest who is a really amazing person who has been a mentor and a guide for many of us for years, Roland Oosterhouse. And Roland, I'd like to introduce you to my guests, some of whom I know pretty well, some of whom are new. So thank you. Our first guest is Amanda. And I gotta say, Amanda, I don't know that much about you, and I'm sure glad that you came.
Thank you so much. I'm Amanda. I don't know if you saw the rings there, but I am an Olympian and a mother of 3 in South Carolina. So thanks for having me, Richard. I'm excited to hear what Roland is going to present to us.
Glad you're on, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Roland.
And we also have Susan Gale. Are you here?
Susan.
Hi.
Hi. There you are.
Yeah, here I am. Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
I'm from Bellingham, Washington, and I'm a grandma of one, and that has expanded in the last few days. So it's very exciting, and just enjoying our beautiful weather that we're having in the Pacific Northwest today.
Very good. Thanks, Susan, for being on.
And also Wanda. Wanda.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Yes, my name is Wanda. I am from Miami, Florida. I'm a nurse, and so I've always been very interested in things that have to do with health, and so I'm glad you invited me to this meeting. I would like to.
Thanks for being on, Wanda. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for coming. And also we have Rick Miller from Janesville. Rick.
Hi. Thanks for inviting me tonight. I'm happy to be here and always looking for new ways to stay healthy and looking for new opportunities.
Thanks. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
And then a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, Bonnie Zeman, who's just north of Madison.
Hi,
Hmm.
I'm Bonnie Zeman, and I've always been challenged insofar as my health goes, and I'm happy to be here to be able to learn more about building my immune system and learn more about getting healthy and having energy and being able to build a Shackley business also. And I'm a great grandmother. I just had
Oh,
there was a birth in our family, so I'm a great grandmother.
my goodness.
And she's a Shackley baby too.
That's even better. That's good. Thanks, Bonnie.
And that's our group tonight, Roland.
What a great group. And I enjoy looking at everybody, Susan, Amanda, and Bonnie, and everybody, and Wanda. And Amanda, you have a perpetual smile. You know, I was thinking she's got to stop smiling sometime, but she doesn't. She just keeps going. That's great. That is really good. Enjoy that. Makes me feel good. Well, I'm glad you're all on tonight. We're going to have a good time. Hope you're ready for a good time. People want to have a good time today. You know what? We are going through a lot of things. A lot of things we're hearing, a lot of disturbance, turns the TV on, and oh my goodness, this is going on, that going on. So a lot of people are worried. I mean, when you see people walking down the street, they just kind of seem worried about things. And but people want to have fun. They want to enjoy life. They want to enjoy life. And it's so important to make other people's day. Make other people's day. I tell you, you'll get better service. It has nothing to do with Shackley. Just make other people's day. I was in Lowe's 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and I wanted some liquid cement, okay, to fill in the cracks and so on. So I thought it must be in the paint department. So I went to the paint department, and there was a lady there and said, "Can I help you?" She's kind of a little gruff, you know. "Can I help you?" And I said, "You know, I've heard that you know everything about everything in this store." She lit up. She said, "Well, I don't know about that." I said, "What I'm looking for is some liquid cement." She says, "I'll take you to it." It was all the way across the store. And she showed me, she says, "This is it right here." I said, "You know, I'm going to make certain you get a raise. You're good." Making somebody's day. I am certain if I said I'm looking for some liquid cement and I had a kind of a glum look on my face because everything is kind of depressing, she would have said, "It's probably on aisle 18. You've got a gruff person." And instead, she takes me all the way there. People with people who are having a good time, that enjoy life. You might as well make it good for other people. And I tell you, it just, it makes their day and it makes my day. That feels so good. So therefore, that's what Shackley is about. That's what I'm about. And, you know, talking about all the stuff you have to go through nowadays to get approval for even renting a car. It used to be, "Can I see your driver's license?" "Okay, have a good day." Now, well, we got to check out the VIN number, and then we got to go to the computer and check everything out and check everything out about you. And it takes about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. All the paperwork on things. I don't care whatever you get tons of paperwork. Everything is paperwork. Well, I was raised on a farm, and you know, the paperwork that farmers have to have now is incredible. You know, how high is your fence? You got to have paperwork so it's so high for the animals that you have in the fence, and you got to have this and the paperwork on everything else and all kinds of paperwork. And I mean, it's drowning us with paperwork. And I'm reminded of the story I heard some time ago, but the government man came out to the farm to make certain that everything was right according to the paperwork. And he goes over everything with the farmer, and farmer explains everything, shows the paperwork. And after he was through, the government man said, well, that's a pretty big pasture there. I think I'm just going to check out that pasture. And the farmer said, well, that's okay, but there's a bull way over there. Well, that's okay. That's no problem. And he walks out there in about the middle of the field, and the bull is eyeing him pretty good. And the bull probably was thinking, you know, I'll bet with my speed and his speed, I can get to him before he ever gets to that gate to get back out. And sure enough, that guy, I mean, he saw the bull coming. He was charging him like crazy. And the guy is running and screaming, open the gate, open the gate. And the farmer said, show him your papers, show him your papers. Incredible. And I'm certain, you know, after the guy recovered from all his injuries and everything, he went back to the bureau that he works for and said, we've got to have paperwork on a bull in the pasture to make certain you stay a certain distance from that bull. Paperwork on everything. So we want to have fun. We want to have some good fun. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just got stories to tell. That's all I've got. I've got stories. And I want to make certain that people leave it up to their common sense. We don't have common sense anymore. People don't have common sense. Leave it up to your common sense about what you want to do. And, you know, I don't know if you've come across situations where you go to somebody and you want something done. They say, I can't do it because it's not my job. You know, I can't give you this pen because somebody else has to give you the pen. Common sense. People just don't have common sense. Working on a farm, I learned common sense. The cow gets out, you figure out how to get the cow back in. You don't say, I don't know what to do. I've never been educated on how you get a cow back in the pasture. You figure it out. It's so important. And so you can figure out what you want to do, but we're going to have fun. I'm not trying to pressure you on anything. I just love telling the story. Well, like I said, I was raised on a farm, and I understood that life is a gift. It's a gift. And I learned that Shackley is a gift. And if you can appreciate the gift, then you can share the gift. And I appreciate more, I guess, my experience on the farm than I did back then, but it was a gift, the things that I've learned. And what I've learned about Shackley, it's a gift. That's all I can tell you. It's a gift. And I tell other people about the gift. This is the house that I was raised in, and still standing. And it was a farm that had a big barn. I don't know if you ever thought about some of these basic things, but you know, we had a lot of fun with the city kids who come out to the farm and wonder, how do you heat the barn in the wintertime? Well, all the animals in the barn heat it on the inside. You don't have anything to heat it. Had all the animals, learned about being in balance and harmony with nature. That's pretty simple. And you learn how to take care of animals. Well, somebody asked me, do you want to feel better? I was working at a service station. Those were the days when you check the oil in the car. Probably before most of your time for many of you. Put gas in the car. The guy said, you want to feel better? I said, yeah, I guess so. So that's when I started on Shackley, started on the basic product, about 3 different products. Got other people on Shackley. Got my mother on Shackley. And she had degenerative bone disease. She told she'd be in a wheelchair in a couple of years. She had irritable bowel syndrome, irregular heartbeat. She was a mess. It was kind of normal today. And we don't guarantee anybody in terms of going to cure anybody, but she lived decades after that and was never in a wheelchair. She died at 96. And here's something that's very interesting. People say when they're told that somebody died, what did they die of? They have a stroke? They have a heart attack? Diabetic? Which diet? Nothing. Got up in the morning, had breakfast, said, well, I'm going to go back to bed and take a nap. Didn't wake up. You don't hear of a lot of people dying a normal death, but that's what happened. Here's a guy I learned from, Dr. Shackley's always had the belief to be in balance and harmony with nature. Shackley philosophy, the golden rule, help other people, make a difference. I mean, we get so hung up on ourselves sometimes about how am I coming across, am I saying the right thing, whatever. It's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. I learned that from Dr. Shackley firsthand. I mean, I had a chance to talk to him many times, and he was always concerned about other people. How's everything in the field? Even after Dr. Shackley died, the founder of the company, I would go visit his wife, Dorothy Shackley, in Castro Valley, California. I was out there, and every time I'd come into her house, she'd say, how's everything in the field? How are the Shackley people? Always concerned about other people. It was just a great lesson that I learned. Roger Barnett, well, he searched all over trying to find a company that was in balance and harmony with nature, a company that was out there taking care of other people. Same philosophy. And if there's destruction in a certain area, Shackley's some of the first stuff to go in there. Shackley people in the area that have not been injured, they take in Shackley products for cleaning, for supplements. It's a gift that goes beyond just using a supplement, using some cleaning products. It's a gift for other people. Here's the issue. I don't know how the slide got in there, but it did. So anyway, people want to be normal. So if I can have a pet that looks like me, oh, I feel so much better. We want to be normal. And normal is sick. The number of times that a child will be sick per year that is normal is now 7. Many of you, I'll bet you have pets. And if your pet is sick 7 times a year, you would say, I have a very, very unhealthy pet. This is not right. And yet we accept sickness as normal. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. If you want to be a grumpy person, you can find a grumpy dog. Feel comfortable talking to your grumpy dog. Here's what's really, really a big issue that I talk to people about, and that is acid blood and alkaline blood. On the left-hand side is acid blood. What produces acid? Well, you see at the screen it says overly processed meat, sugar, white bread, coffee, caffeine, carbonated drinks, alcohol, cigarettes, prescription drugs, processed food. The American diet. Look at those cells. They're jagged. They're not round like the ones on the other side are. When they're jagged, when they go through the capillaries, they're more likely to cause a stroke because they get locked together. Acid is a big thing. You realize if a person is acid, it's next to impossible to get healthy. Very hard. Do you realize, we're not into Western medicine, but do you realize that the body wants to repair? That's the way it's been made. The way God made it. If I get a cut, the body wants to repair the cut, but it wants to repair on the inside as well. We just must make certain we're giving the correct tools to do the repairing. But that's a big difference. People try to get healthy and they're acid. Most people are acid in the United States today. On a scale of 0 to 14, we're supposed to be at 7, and the bloodstream will always look like it's okay. But I'm talking about the muscular level, the cell level, the organ level. That can change. Here's something as to why I can say I have a passion for Shackley. Done by Dr. Francis Pottinger a number of years ago. He said, I think diet makes a big difference. And so he took, I guess it's about 800 healthy young cats and started feeding them the processed American diet. The red on the right, upper right, that represents the fact that at the end of the lifespan, they started getting very, very sick. That generation of cats had a generation of cats, and they started with sickness, very bad sickness, about halfway through their lifespan. The third generation at birth and shortly thereafter. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just tell the story. This is a story that most people don't even know about or don't want to recognize, and that is kids in elementary school are going to have a tough time having children. This is the situation we're in. You talk to a teacher who's been teaching for about 25, 30 years, she'll tell you, yeah, about 30 years ago, we might have 1 or 2 kids in the school on medication. Now it's 1/3 of the classroom, folks. They're your kids, they're your grandchildren, they're your great-grandchildren. This is real. This is real stuff. I'm telling you, these kids are going to have a tough time having children in the 3rd generation. Because with the cats, most could not get impregnated. They did, a lot of stillbirth. This is real. You can get on the internet and check it out. But, you know, it's just like the other day, I was in Lowe's. Go to Lowe's quite a bit, they're only a couple miles away. And 10 o'clock in the morning, a mother with probably a 10-year-old child going through the checkout lane, and the child was having a Coke part of the breakfast. You just want to say something. You want to say something. It hurts. It hurts. I mean, where's the common sense? They wouldn't give a Coke to their cat or to their dog. We want to treat our animals really good because we know food is important. Well, here's some things that are of very good interest, I think. Here's the girl sitting up on the 2nd floor of their home. The mother's in the basement cleaning the clothes, washing the clothes, and she's using chlorine bleach, and the smell goes up through the vents. She's trying to write a story. Can you see how the lines are shorter? The words are less legible. And partway through, if you really look at it closely, she starts talking about how stupid she is. A smell of chlorine. Chlorine goes into tons of stuff. I mean, it's not just one thing, folks. Here's the thing. I tell people, the question is not, can we get healthier? The question is, do you want to get healthier? Maybe extra water, proper amount of sleep, good food. Everybody says, oh yeah, exercise, oh yeah. Shackley just gives a number of pluses to better health. And it's really pretty simple, common sense, it really is. From Lansing, Michigan, a 10-year-old, I met this little girl. ADD, attention deficit disorder. Have you ever heard of that? Oh boy, kids doesn't have ADD. Something's not right. 1 week later, I'm talking about your kids, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Wow, look at the difference. ADD, attention deficit disorder, boy from Florida. Father said this is the best the boy could smile. Look at how his fist is clenched. Dark circles under the eyes. Where do you think the kid's going to end up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? It probably has low self-esteem because of all this, but here's 1 month later. We change people's lives. Can you see how great that gift is to change people's lives? Here's a good one from Indiana. The mother has a daycare center, and the kid's little boy comes home from school. He's 10 years of age. He sits on the hardwood floor. The mother is cleaned with Lysol and Pine-Sol disinfectant. He sits on the floor, and those are his numbers. And as I understand from people who talk to the mother, the kid is crying and talking about how stupid he is. Can you imagine? He feels that he's a dummy in the classroom. He's got to feel that way. The mother switches to Shackley germicide, Shackley cleaner and germicide, which it is all in one. And he does his numbers. The next day, same boy, same floor, 1 day later, same time. The mother says, I cannot believe that stuff did that. She goes back to Pine-Sol, Lysol to prove to herself those were the numbers on the 3rd day. Isn't that tragic? Isn't that tragic? Oh my goodness, what a gift we have. From Sturgis, Michigan. A couple in Sturgis, Michigan have a daughter in my group. Autistic. Come on, folks. 1970, 1 out of 5,000 were autistic. Now it's 1 out of every 54. The projections for the next 10 years for autism is It scares us to death. And I think a lot of parents know what happened, why it happened. The parents were told, you're going to have somebody take care of her the rest of her life. She can't really communicate. She obviously can never hold a job. They're just putting her in the special ed classes. What a blessing. Several years later, getting good grades in school, living a normal life. I think we've got something to share from Grand Rapids, Michigan, 9 miscarriages. But 1 or 2 good days a month. She said, well, I'll try one more thing. And she couldn't believe how good she felt taking Shackley. Within 1 week, she told her friends, can you come over to my house? You know, in-home presentations are really, really good in person. She had a whole bunch of people there. There were about 14 people there. She said, I just care about you. I'm not selling it. I just care about you. What a way to go. And then afterwards, I said, people want to do this business. People want to use the products. It doesn't matter to me, whatever you want to do. Well, now she and her husband make over a 6-figure income in Shackley. He's a detective in the Grand Rapids area. Part-time, by the way, part-time. We have a great weight loss program. It's safe. It works. I don't know if you've seen this picture or not. Identical twins. These are from Indiana, too. A lot of people from Indiana. Identical twins at the age of 4 and at the age of 69. And one said, over 20 years ago, I'm going to use Shackley. And the other one said, well, I'm going to use whatever on the market and get a good deal. Look how much shorter one is than the other. I don't know. A lot of people are concerned how they look. At least when they wake up in the morning, they look in the mirror and wonder how I look today. Sharon Gale, her parents were in Shackley. They're both deceased, but they turned the business over to her before they died. And now she has a great business. She's earning about $60,000 a year. And then we have Al and Trudy Kruger. They started using the cleaning products. Al said, I've got a bad back, hurt my back. This in retirement age. Hurt my back, what was Shackley do? I said, I don't know, Al, you can try it. And got results. And I soon were making over a 6-figure income. From Canada, Star Lovins, 6 children. She and her husband have 6 children. Just started telling the story. Have a nice business, made well over 6-figure income. Oprah, she says Shackley's the best. Uses it in all her homes. Cleaning products, they give pluses to better health. Plus they save money. Plus we can do our part in helping the environment. What a way to go. Average family of 4 saving over $3,400 a year using safe products. Do you realize the #1 reason why children end up in emergency? Our cleaning products we get into. They should be locked up. #1 reason. We have products that save money. They've been used by the space program. They work, they're safe, they work, they save. Why not get pluses to better health with our cleaning products? I think it's a good way to start. I also like the youth product. You know, working on a farm, I didn't realize the damage that the sun could do to the skin, and I got a lot of sun damage. Boy, I tell you, I got a lot of repair right here. I use this every night, every morning. The one to the far left is a cleanser. And then the toner. I don't care, you can take a shower. I took a shower this evening for this meeting, use the skincare products. And even though I wash my face very well and use that toner, it still takes stuff off your face. I don't know. It is so good in cleaning out of the pores. So, you know, skin is going to be healthier, get more oxygen from the air. And I've got a serum that's going to be feeding the skin. And we've got a great moisturizer. And I use the C&E repair as well. And I tell you, the repair is phenomenal. A lot of people, that C&E repair, which is on the right-hand side, they find that they have skin tags. Skin tags, they put it on twice a day, and a couple of weeks, that skin tag is gone. We don't cure anybody, folks. This stuff is good. It really, really does work. We've got food supplements. That's a heck of a deal right now. Heck of a deal. You can get a couple cans of protein You can get a strip of vitamins, extra B complex, and omega, and multivitamin, and a probiotic, and you get all this and collagen along with it for about $179. It's a first time special deal. Special deal is really, really special. Getting all these supplements. We do have other programs where they can get, say, just a protein, a multivitamin, and maybe one other product, but this is such a deal. But everybody's guaranteed better health in some way in 30 days. I like to discuss nutrition, but I'm not going to argue with anybody. You want to feel better. Same thing that I was told many years ago. You want to feel better. Because these products back me up. You want to feel better. They work. I use a lot of supplements. Do I have to? No, I want to. It's not a have to thing. I don't look at taking Shaklee as a have to. I want to. I know it's very good for me, but I take things as prevention. I take a lot of saw palmetto, prevent prostate cancer. I'm just trying to stay healthy. You see, here's the thing, folks. I'm healthier today than I was as a teenager. I used to be sick every month and a half, about every 45 days. Sore throat, tonsillitis. I'm telling you, I can feel the pain now when I talk about it. I could hardly swallow. My throat was so sore every 45 days. Can you imagine what I was destined for? I've had a lung that has collapsed 3 times. Gee, you talk about a gift. I'm healthier today than as a teenager. Can you see how this is such an important gift? So I take it all. I take extra B complex. I find if I take B complex, I don't crave sweets. I find if I take enough calcium and maybe some extra magnesium, I don't get leg cramps that night. And I don't get restless leg syndrome. And I find when I take the alfalfa, I don't have the sinus issues and the postnasal drip that I used to have all the time. I take it all. And you know what? I save a lot of money because I eat about 1/3, even less than that, perhaps, than I would normally eat. When I take Shaklee, I take a lot of Shaklee. I take a lot of protein because that builds the immune system strong. And so I take about 7 of the scoops. There's a scoop runner. I take at least 7 scoops a day. Spread it out throughout the day. And yeah, it stabilizes the blood sugar level. Huh. It also stabilizes the hormone level. That's a big one. Looking at the advertisements on TV for blood sugar problems, diabetics, and look at the advertisements for people with hormonal imbalance. Going crazy. And building the system strong. And once you get the pH up there, and it helps to get the pH up right away. So consequently, you can start repairing the system. I don't care what age. I don't care what age. It doesn't matter. It works. It's good. It's safe. We've got great sport products. Man, are they good? 67% better than Gatorade. Hydrating your system. Rebuilding your muscles, your tissues. I've had that, because I've been working pretty hard, some manual labor today. I've had that protein, that build protein, the banana flavor is really good. I've had it 3 times already today. 2 scoops each time. And I put in a little of the hydrate. Huh. You get a better absorption when you take the hydrate with the protein, by the way. Plus, I've had the regular protein. Yeah, I've had quite a bit already there. A lot of athletes use Shaklee. They feel it's the best. They feel it's the best. It's the best. The products work. They're safe. That's why I started my kids on Shaklee supplements at 7 days of age, folks. They were babies. They were nursing babies. They still got Shaklee. It works. Prevention. What's so fantastic is now that their kids are all getting it. 8 grandchildren. They're just little tykes. They wake up in the morning and they say, protein, protein. I want the protein. I know it's good for them. Shaklee is not sold in stores. It's a special product. Can't tell everything by the label. So it's very special. It needs a little explaining. So we have the opportunity to explain this to other people, answer their questions, sit down with them, help them to understand, answer their questions, not try to sell them. Don't sell and tell. Don't sell and tell. Just be there for them. Because they're going to be asking you questions if they feel you're not pushing and selling. I've got a child with growing pains. What do I do? I've got a lot of headaches. What can I do? They're going to start asking these questions if you don't push them. And then that gives me an opportunity to make an income. Can you think about it? Making an income and helping other people and enjoy doing what I'm doing. And so I didn't get started with a business right away, but I started getting customers. All these icons here represent customers. My mother didn't try to sell Shackley, but she loved going into stores, department stores. She lived in Arizona. And she'd go in there and she'd ask people, how old do you think I am? And of course, she didn't look her age. And then I'd get a call from somebody saying, Lois Piker told me to talk with you because I want to get started on some of the stuff she's using. Oh, it's amazing. People get people that get people. And this is about 15 customers. But when you have 30 customers, you're making around $10,000 to $11,000 a year. Think of it, folks. Just think of it. Part of your food, because this is food, is paid for. All your skincare is paid for. All your cleaning products are paid for. All your sport products are paid for. Plus, on top of that, you get the tax deductions. Yes, this is part-time. Oh my goodness. And you see, once people do that, and they're not selling and pushing, there are going to be other people who say, I want to do what you're doing. Gee whiz, why wouldn't I want to get all this stuff free? My goodness, with inflation, to get all this stuff doesn't cost you anything because you've helped other people. What a way to go. So the people in blue represent at least 30 customers. They have 30 or 40 customers, 30 or 40 customers, 30 or 40 customers. And they're going to have people who are going to say, gee, this is a no-brainer. I want to do what you're doing. And so those are the people in the brown. They got customers. And one in the yellow and one in the gray. You realize you get paid on that. It's like you start a franchise. They're the ones in the blue. And with your help, they're going to help to get a franchise, the ones in the brown. They're going to help to get a franchise, one in the yellow. And there could be a whole bunch of the ones in the yellow and the ones in the gray. Do you realize that you're getting paid on all those franchises? And you haven't had to put out $250,000 for yours. You bought a kit. Gee. And that's close to $66,000 a year. And if you want to have that type of buying power without the tax benefits and a job outside the home, you'd have to find a job that's paying you $95,000 a year. That's pretty good. This is part-time, folks. Part-time. This is very, very, very nice. It's also part of the gift. I think of the number of people that I have that are, well, the parents were both working. Now it begins with one of the parents can stay at home and take care of the kids. A lot of parents that are homeschooling their kids now. A parent can be home and do that and do Shackley. And then they make extra income, and then the husband and wife can both be home. You see the blessing in that? I feel so good when I call them and they say, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so wonderful. It is so wonderful. It's a high. On top of that, Shackley says, we will send you to different places around the world. This is in Cancun. Last one was in Cabo. Your airfare is taken care of. Your airfare for 2 people. Your food. Can you imagine sitting on the beach? Sitting on the beach, maybe you got an umbrella there. Sun's kind of hot. And somebody comes around and they have a serving tray and they say, what can I help you with? Well, I'd like some fish tacos. Okay. And it doesn't cost you a thing. In fact, you felt so good eating those 2 fish tacos, you said, I'm going to have 2 more. Doesn't cost you a thing. It's all inclusive. It's all paid for. Your room, your food, your airfare. Why? Because you share the gift. That's all. You share the gift. And Jackie says, we'll even give you extra money for a car if you share the gift with somebody else. They say, hey, I want to do this thing too. Just sharing the gift. It's all about a gift. That's what I do, share the gift. I don't pressure people. I never say, well, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. I just say, what do you want to do? First of all, do you want better health? It's up to you. Some people don't. That's okay. That's okay. It's not my choice. It's their choice. And some people say, yes, I'd like to investigate to figure out how can I make an extra income? You know, I've got kids in college. How can I do that? How can I have that extra income? And I really find out what they want. I don't start saying you should do this, you should do that. We don't work that way. So I'm very, very happy, Richard, you invited your guests. And, you know, just to share the story, and I hope you feel that I'm very authentic about what I believe in. And I'd like to know if you have any questions for me. Yes? Or Richard?
Wow. Roland, thanks so much for that. It's a great story and great to hear those examples. Does anybody have any questions?
I would like to ask a question. So I
knew you would, Amanda.
I
knew
know,
that.
right? So I have 3 young kids, 5, 4, and 1.5. And what would you recommend for the immune building, the also for them, and then energy for mom to keep up with them?
Oh my goodness, mom is busy. What were their ages again? 4 and what?
5, 4, and 1.5.
Oh my goodness. Do you ever sleep?
Actually, I do, but it's like 5 hours at a time at night.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little break, wake up, and then try to go back to sleep.
Well, very, very good question. I appreciate that for the kids. It's always the basics, the protein and the multivitamins, which come in, you can put in liquid form. With the babies, we start them on liquid lead. And we would puncture a capsule of vitamin E and things like that and put it on a spoon, even though they were nursing when they were young. And that's how we gave it to them, these really tiny babies. But we didn't hesitate to give them a number of things. But the basic things are the protein, because that builds healthy cells. That builds your immune system. And these kids are developing so fast that most kids are deficient in protein. And then they get hung up on carbohydrates, too many carbohydrates. And so then the multivitamin is a chewable as well. And so the protein, I give them the protein a couple times a day. And multivitamin, 2 a day. And I can get the probiotic. You know, those are very basic. Once I understood the value of this, my kids were growing up, I got everything. And the one that was the healthiest was the one who kept eating all the Shackley bars. I mean, we find wrappers all over the house, wherever we walked. We knew where he'd been because they were wrappers. But he got so much protein. Protein is so vitally important. For yourself, I can't emphasize enough for the protein. I feel if people would take 6 scoops a day, they'd know a difference in their skin. Dr. Shackley had fantastic skin because he ate a lot of protein. They used to have protein in tablet form too. And most people just don't get enough protein. And that's why a lot of times when there are people who are not feeling well, maybe they got a cough they can't get rid of, and they take a lot of vitamins. And I say, take a teaspoon of protein or tablespoon of protein every half a day. So protein is so important. So anyway, that's what I definitely go with. But making certain we don't have the craving for the carbs, but like for yourself, because that shows a B complex deficiency. And you can decide how far you want to go with it, but definitely the protein, the multivitamin, the B complex, and the probiotic.
Thank you, Roland, and I appreciate your presentation and visiting with us.
You're welcome. It's been fun. Anybody else? Yes, Susan.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. I have a health question, and then I would like to learn more about earning an income, because I do have a daughter that lives in Virginia, and I was just there for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It's really become a dream of mine to be able to go out and maybe rent a house for 2 or 3 months a year so that I can, be closer to her during my year. So I would
Mhm.
love to learn a little bit more about income, but my health question is my husband is having a hip replacement on Friday.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
what would you suggest the protocol I put him on when he gets home?
Well, so many different supplements are so good. I mean, vitamin E helps gives oxygen to the cells for better healing. Vitamin C is great for better healing. That's why a lot of times in surgery, they have people getting intravenously vitamin C. But the protein and the build. My mother, when she was close to 90 years of age, she was working at Diller's department store in Arizona, and she tripped over a box, broke her hip. She had to have hip surgery. And well, I had her taking lots of physique. And the healing time was just way beyond whatever happens to anybody else. At that age, only most people really don't recover very well. But she did way, way ahead of time. Physique for building those muscles and a lot of calcium. I would be taking at least 5 or 6 calcium in the evening before going to bed, and that's when our bodies want to use calcium so much. That's why a lot of people have hip aches, leg cramps, and so on in the evening, because your body needs calcium for your brain, for your lungs, and it takes it out of the joints and the muscles. So we shouldn't have those things. So anyway, those would be very, very, very basic.
Okay, thank you.
And congratulations for looking into about the income, because it's not, hey, we're going to try to sell you on anything, or why don't you do this? You lead the way. You lead the dance. Whatever you want to look at, we'll look at. Maybe after you look at it, you're going to say, I don't want to be part of it. That's okay. No problem. Whatever you want. Your
Great.
choice. Who else?
So Roland, I would just like,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for your presentation tonight, and especially thank you for not trying to sell me something. I think people try to sell me something all day long, and I was ready to come here tonight and have to put up my force field to block somebody trying to sell me something. And I think your presentation tonight made it very easy for me to look at this as an opportunity, and I just thank you.
Good for you. What do you, if I may ask you, Rick, I really appreciate that. What are you thinking when you say you'd like to look into it? What is of interest to you? I'm just very curious. Whatever you want is fine. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, so definitely the two sides of this is to get as healthy as I possibly can, and to help other people get as healthy as they can, and those are the things that I'm looking at the most.
You are so on track. I mean, to see that, because many people put up the defenses and say, "Oh, I don't want to sell and I don't want to do that." But you right away picking up on that and seeing helping other people, that's 98% right there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulate you. That's very, very good thinking. I don't know how much time we have left. I forgot to bring my time in here. I don't want to keep anybody up too long here. Can you help me, Richard? What time do we have?
Got about 10 more minutes to
Okay.
answer questions here.
Any other questions? What are you thinking? I always like to know what you're thinking. If you're thinking I'm crazy, that's fantastic. I'm a happy, crazy person. It's the people who are normal are not happy. Who wants to be normal? What's interesting, if I just say one other thing about feeling good and being happy about things and enjoy making other people's day. Today, going into different stores, Lowe's and so on, I would say there were about 6 people that have no idea who I am. In other words, they don't know my name, they haven't seen me before, whatever. They said hi to me. There were 4 guys and 2 women working there, and some people just as customers. I walked past them, they said hi. We all have energy. We all have energy, and that energy can really be good or it can really be very weak. In other words, if somebody's really depressed, you can just tell when you're walking past them. You don't want to get near them. People want to be around people with good energy. And you know, I think this is crazy. These people are saying hi to me and they don't know who I am. That's when you know you have good energy. That's when you know you're on the right track. What a way to feel. Well, somebody had a question. You, Wanda?
Yes, so I was interested, what would you recommend to just start the program to try it out?
Okay, that's a great question. This is where when I talk to people, I do a lot of health evaluations. It takes about 45 minutes. I find out a lot about the people just in talking. We just don't spend time just talking to people and really getting acquainted. But I want to find out about them and their families and so on. But in the process, I find out where their head is in terms of taking things like supplements. If they say, I say, have you ever taken supplements before? Oh, yeah, I got a cupboard load of supplements. I got this and this and this. Then I know they can handle a few more products. If they say, oh, I don't know, it may just be protein, Vital E, and probiotic. So it all depends on their thinking. And I find out where their thinking is before I say anything. And that's a great question, Wanda, because after I get all their information and I find out about their liquid intake, their food, everything else, I find out all this stuff. I find out about their families. I find out if they've got grandchildren. I already have a market. I haven't even talked about Shackley yet. I haven't even said anything about doing the business. I'm already preparing a market in my mind. But I get to a point where I say, can I tell you, Wanda, what I would do if I had your problem? I get permission. And they all say yes. And I say, this is what I would do. And at the end of the presentation, I say, Wanda, whatever you want to do is fine. It's up to you. I don't care. I do care about you, Wanda, but it's your choice, whatever you want to do. 99, it's about 100% of the people say, well, I'm going to do what you said. It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just here telling you what I would do. I know. I really appreciate that. Most of the people, well, they all say that. Most of the people then say, I wish you'd talk to my sister, or I've got a grandchild that's really sick all the time on antibiotics. I never ask for referrals. They give them to me. They give them to me. And you know, many times, there's so many little things that make a difference. But so many times they say, do you have some literature or something that I can give to my granddaughter because she's got a child that's sick all the time? My answer is no, not really. It depends a lot on the diet. I don't want to give literature. They don't eat the literature. And who knows? They look at the literature and then they go to Costco. I want to talk to them. You think your granddaughter want to talk to me? Well, yeah, I'm sure. Do you have anything that I should tell her she should start her child on? I said, no, I really don't. Well, what do you think is the best thing to do? Well, I can talk to her. I said, what a great idea. See if she wants to talk to me. It's their idea. Their idea. We got to stop selling. Stop selling. Because people want to be with you because you're not pushing them. They will come knocking on your door. And most Shackley people are looking at how I can get them into this or that. They'll get into it themselves. It's a great question. So I have to decide, but the basics, the very basics, everybody's guaranteed better health in 30 days, but they just get on the protein, Vital E, and the probiotic. Everybody. Isn't that amazing? You can guarantee better health for everybody. Just those three products. I think it's miraculous. I think it's so wonderful. Just it's so easy. Anybody can do that. Just three things.
Thank you.
Other question.
Roland, I have a question. We've been taking Shackley for a long time, and we've noticed that there are now more years behind us than ahead of us. And I'm wondering that as we get older, are there any nutrients that come to mind that we might want to do more of? As I've just passed 70. I feel pretty good, but a lot of my friends like to talk about how sick they are, or what's wrong, or what's not working. And I just wondered if there's anything I should be thinking about.
Well, first of all, you're just a young guy. You're only 70. Gee. Wait till you get to my age. Then, a lot of protein. As people get older, they must have more protein because they're not utilizing the protein very well. And their muscles must have more protein because they don't have all the things that perhaps we had as youth and, using the protein for our muscles and everything. Protein is very big, but well, I tell you, there's nothing like 8B complex today because that helps to regulate the assimilation of all the different supplements. I take at least 8B complex every day, but I take a lot of everything. And I feel that as people get older, they must consider taking more than what they did when they say were 60. Because once people get older, they just start falling apart. It's not that their body couldn't hold together better if they had all the nutrients. So try it.
Thank you. That's great.
Anybody else? Well, I appreciate all of you being on. If you want to find out more about having a health evaluation, it doesn't cost you anything. You can do a 3-way call, have a good time, tell you what I would do, maybe for your family or your grandchildren. You ever thought about your grandchildren? Wow, what a gift you could give to your grandchildren. You can set up a 3-way call with one of your kids because they may have a child that could use some help, because this is about prevention. When are we going to start with that teenager who's sick all the time? I can't believe the number of teenagers that I hear about that are a mess. They're a mess, folks. They're a mess. So having an opportunity to do that, and like Amanda said, no, I guess it was Susan that said, I'd like to find out more about how this thing works. We'll talk about it. But boy, it's learning how to share the gift, not sell it, to share it. And so you're welcome to find out more. But I really appreciate your questions. I appreciate your interest. And we're here for you. Okay? Well, thank you. Thank you. We'll talk again.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks for the role.
Oh, don't leave us, Roland. We get to keep you for a minute. That was awesome, Roland. Let's review what we heard in what he did. Did you notice that the first thing that he did was he just made friends, made light, made a joke, let people relax, said, put your money away. We're not here to sell you something. Did we notice that? So, if the stupid bull doesn't have his paperwork, then he's going to jeez. And then the second thing, these are just observations from me, but see what else you said. He talked about the problems. He just talked about the issues in just a big general term, not just, and relating them to things that all of us probably have friends that have something like that. But it was just issues. It wasn't, I'm selling you Shackley, but it was the problems and the issues. And then offered the fact that there's some things that people might do with it, and look at the kinds of results with some people that there have been some experiences with it. But is that what you, if you had thought about how was I going to do this, is that what you would have thought? You might have thought that you were going to do something different, maybe. And that's
what did you think I was going to do, Richard? You're shaking your head yes or no. I can't figure it out.
Yes, I agree. The whole orientation that you had was about creating a relationship with people. And it wasn't, let's talk about these wonderful products that we thank you all for coming to talk about. And so as a result, the explanation or your review of the products that you liked, that you showed pictures of, were way down the road in the presentation, and that people had you taken the time to get people's trust at the very beginning. And there was no close that says, hey, there's a good, better, best here for you, here's what I would do, here's what you could do, here's what an option would be, but rather simply to ask questions, to hear you ask the questions, and then you take off on it. You complimented people when they asked you the question, and you told it how it impacted your life, as opposed to what somebody else should do.
Thank you for that, Richard. And one thing I want to point out, that many people, once they get educated, they want to educate people. They're the most boring people when they give a presentation. It's not education. I don't go into a lot of details on things because I want people saying, I want more. And a lot of people want to talk about the alfalfa and the root system going down 23 feet and taking up all these minerals and everything else out of the soil and how good it is. It's got a certain amount of protein and got trace elements. Boring, boring. Plus, a lot of people say, I can never do that. It would take me 10 years to learn about all this stuff. Okay. Sorry, Carolyn.
No,
Scott,
sorry.
Scott,
Hey, Roland, great to see you. Great job. The question I have is, has your presentation evolved over the years? And when you were young in your business, were you maybe a little bit more aggressive in selling? And, now you have a huge organization. You don't have the pressure probably to earn the money that you did when you're first starting out. And so for someone who's just starting out, do you think they might have a different style, maybe a different sense of urgency, or would you recommend the same style like throughout the career, even from when you're first building to when you're very well established?
same style. Right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, because I learned early on with a customer who I told them all the benefits she was going to get at 80 years of age using the basic program. And I checked back with her a week later and said, did you notice you feel better? Maybe. Did you feel you require less sleep? Well, maybe not. Do you have more energy? Oh, I don't know. I thought, what in the heck? 80 years of age, she can't feel anything? A week later, I get a call from her daughter saying, I want some of that stuff that my mother is raving about. I never sold again. I learned then it's their thing to let them discover. And every presentation was with the passion, which I believe in. I believed in it then. I saw the results. My mother, degenerative bone disease. Do you realize how many decades, if she lived as long as she did with the problems, somebody be pushing her around in a wheelchair? 30 years? Man, I tell you, I want people to understand the gift. And that's why I want people to understand right away in the beginning. I'm not here to sell you. And letting people know, I really don't care what you do. I care for you, but I don't care what you do. It's your choice. Amanda?
Roland, so to kind of piggyback off of what Scott was saying, so for those who do start out and may not have the testimonies that you have, the before after pictures that are very powerful, I think. I only have my own testimony, if you will. So how do you kind of overcome that perhaps you don't have the strength in the testimonies just yet?
I would seek out information to find the other stories. A person who sponsored me into Shackley had arthritic problems and the fingers were going like this. And at that time, everybody shared their stories, all kinds of health stories. And they're still available. There are booklets that you can get telling health stories. And I just picked up on those health stories. I didn't have arthritis. I didn't have a lot of different things, but I just told the stories. So I'd find out the stories.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn, sorry.
One last question. Yeah, one last question I saw was if you were doing this live or do you ask if Richard is hosting? Richard, before we started, invited people to sample some tea, have some bars that he cut up. Would you say something about that for the live setup as opposed to a Zoom?
In the live setup, they are kings and queens when they come in. I thank them for coming. I appreciate you coming. I know the host appreciates you coming. I really thank them for coming. There are many situations where the young couple's trying to do Shackley and they've told their parents they should be on Shackley. the parents have rebelled. I said, make certain you invite your parents. And I want to help them to do a good job of inviting. Well, how should I invite my parents? They don't want to come. No, who's the softie, your dad or your mom? Well, my dad is. Dad, will you please help us out? You know, Jim and I want to do Shackley. Would you please help us? Yeah, what is it? Would you and Mom please come to our house? Because we got this guy talking about Shackley. And I know you don't want to buy anything, but if you would just be there, we got to have bodies. Would you please come? I know all that before the meeting. So when they come in the door, they are king and queens, believe me. Oh, we'll do anything for the kids. Yeah, we'll help the kids. Afterwards, they are the first ones that will have another in-home presentation. Afterwards, when we're having our goodies and taking some samples of the protein and so on, I said, I can't thank you enough for coming. I just don't say thanks for coming. Yeah, make it special. Oh no, anything to help the kids. Wow, this is so good. I know they appreciate it. What do you think of this idea? To really help the kids, if you had something like this in your home, boy, would that help the kids. Yeah, we'll do that. They invite everybody, anybody, all the wrong way, but they're not selling, so they can do it. Come on, Agnes, you got to get over here. I've had sometimes meetings where there's 16 people come. Grandchildren, kids, whole bunches, because they wanted to help. They wanted to help. So they're kings and queens. I thank them. And then I know everybody's name. And therefore, I have put down their names. And Amanda has green on. And Rick has green on. And so before we get started, I know all their first names. Because if the teacher knows their names, then you're in control, even of a chaotic classroom. And so when we started, I say, you know, I really want to thank you because I meant to mention this. Sorry, Richard. This is where Richard is going in Shackley. That's why I'm here to help him. I forgot that. That's why I'm here, because this is what Richard is going to do. So that really affirms where Richard is going. And so do you have any questions? Amanda, do you have any questions? And boy, I call around everybody by name, first name. They say, you remembered our name. That is so special. You know? And so I'm in control, even when it gets out of control. And somebody says, I got a question. Okay, no problem. Right there in the middle of the meeting. I'm still in control. It's fun. It's fun. People say, well, I took alfalfa for 15 years. I don't know why I stopped taking it. Well, why did you stop? I don't know. I lost my source of supply. But let me tell you, I got to tell everybody here why I took alfalfa. I'm telling you, I had back pains like you would not believe. I mean, the doctor said I'd never. They go on with their story right in the middle of the meeting. Everybody wants alfalfa. And so we get it back to where we were. You could have so much fun. But I know everybody's name. Thank them for coming. Oh, goodness. You got to have fun. Anything
Roland,
else?
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And, you know, I have one request for everyone that I just heard on a call, and that is we should all have three-way call partners. So if we do a better job of simply, when questions come up, you know what, instead of my answering this, what if my friend Erna, if I get my friend Erna to talk to you, she can tell you her story. Whoever your three-way call partners are, and it can be a 10-minute call, but if we do that for each other and introduce them, tell our story and say, you know, go back to whoever invited you, but get some three-way call partners, and it just makes life so much more fun and enjoyable.
That's actually right, because I can say to somebody, I said, hey, you know, you want to look at a good looking guy? I got Scott. You know, you can talk to Scott. He's a good looking guy. And that may help. You know, he looks nice and healthy. Bingo. It's a done deal.
Did you guys
Okay.
notice what I did? I called my own three-way call partner, Roland.
Yeah.
Would you come do this program? We're never prophets in our own land. So Roland, thank you. You're hosting another call. We will come join you over there. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank
Roland.
you.